Hey there, Dango Stu here. Today's video is about getting Renko ready for its first coastal voyage and is proudly sponsored by marineengine.com. It's been a huge week, pretty tired now to be honest with you. I've got a friend, Bronick, who's sailing down to Sydney Harbour with some friends for 4 nights, 3 days, and he said, look, do you want to come along? My first instinct was, yeah, love to go. Then I started looking around the boat at all the things that needed to be done in order to both go offshore and to stay on board for 3 nights. And the more I did, the longer the list grew. So I sort of powered into it all, and I think when I get there, I've got 1 more day. Tomorrow's Monday, then we're leaving Tuesday. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into all the stuff that got done.
Week started with lots of little odd jobs. First thing I did was cut this water drain shorter because you can hit your head on it. Then the plan is to extend it with like some radiator pipe. Also cut the daggy end off the fuel tank breather. It's just been bothering me. It's sort of rusty and sharp, so cut that off and then just treat it and paint it. Job after that was to start installing the new permanent 24-volt inverter. It's a Victron unit and will power the computer, and just every other 240-volt appliance we have on the boat. Next job was to cut the lead ingots in half so they could fit into the bilge.
Alright. Well, they'll fit.
Vic over there on the blue barge is the local mooring contractor. As well as installing and servicing my own moorings, Vic was the man who helped me crane the Detroit into the boat. He's coming over soon to grab the workbench here. I can't really get it up to the house. It's too heavy, no room, and I need to get it off the boat. Huge thanks to Peter, who gave the bench to me, and it's been amazing for the last sort of year or so to, be working on. But we're slowly sort of getting out of that phase, and I need to clear the deck because of this trip up to Sydney. I really want to try and get everything that's going to go sliding around, because it does, even in a bit of wash, it does slide from side to side. You could tack weld it down, but it can't stay there. So Vic's going to help me grab that, which is one more thing off the deck, ready for this offshore trip. It's been a really busy week, but not really interesting, unfortunately, from a filming point of view. Lots of grinding, painting, just getting the bilge. I'm getting the rest of the cabin ground and paint like we did before, rinse, repeat, same process. I want to get that done, the bilge under the bunk, so they can then put a mattress in, because we're going to be staying overnight, so we need to do that. And I don't want to put a mattress in there, only to have to pull it right back out again to do some grinding and painting. Same with the lazarette. Doing the grinding, painting, because I want to put the ballast in, and I don't want to put the ballast over an unprepped surface, only to have to lift it out again. So, not interesting, but needs to be done. Little job I did just then that I probably should have filmed, but I don't know, sorry. It's one of those weeks. Was just took the primer bulb out. The suction on here is too high. I now have these in parallel permanently. As you can see, they're all open to reduce the vacuum that the fuel pump on the Detroit's drawing. The reason for that is it was going through a primer bulb, now gone, primary fuel filter, and another primary fuel filter. It's only designed to draw through one, so I need to kind of delete this from the system, but that involves getting a hose made up that will go from the Vetus fuel filters into the fuel pump. So that means going to Pertec, and that means disabling the boat for a period of time. Alright, ran the grinder over this, well, I say I, Vicky did actually, over this, the back of this weld, so put a bit of Galmet rust converter on it, and then we'll get some primer and paint on it. Alright, same thing in the bilge of the cabin, stateroom, whatever you want to call it. Oh. Alright, giving it all a good wipe down with acetone now. Gives me a good chance to stock up on my vitamin A, which I believe is acetone fumes. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it is. I'd forgotten how much fun grinding rust is. Oh, I saw Rick pull up. Is he?
Just started. We'll just try and find the metal.
Yeah.
And,
we can be the balance team.
leave your end just line through.
Yeah.
Just roughly think where you think the centre is.
Steeler sent this website to run on Facebook, like boat swap thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's laser junk. You should like it.
Yeah, I know. It's dangerous to look.
Yeah, there's lots of stainless steel stuff.
Oh, good.
Easy.
Alright.
Yeah, I think it's all right.
We know where it'll go if it falls in.
Yeah. Dust is slowly clearing from the lazarette after a bit of grinding. Taken one half of the floor out from there. I'm going to take the other half out. More grinding. And then start again with the Galmet rust converter. Stay. A couple of other jobs that have been on the to-do list for way too long is, well, repair the roof where somebody's done a really bad job of sealing the old aerial. Water's got trapped in, rusted out, so we have to cut that out. There's no time to do that before next week, so if I'm going to go on this trip, then I'm going to just need a handheld VHF. But what I will do is cut off these bolts from the old nav lights, clean this up. If this bit of steel needs a bit of repair, which I think it is going to, we may mount the new lights just a little bit further back and then maybe paint that black or something for the glare. We will see. Anyway, let's cut these off first. Just realised I'd left this GoPro on wide angle, which I might do, have one wide, one narrow. Hopefully that's not so much of a problem. Anyway, lots of rust here because there was wires clipped up here once again. Wherever something's sort of been against the steel, there are issues. Fixable, of course, but just another job to do. They're a bit rusty and painted over, but it looks like these are 10mm nuts on this side and flathead on this side, so I'll go get the tools so we can remove this. Little bit of an issue with running the wires for the new nav lights is that this starboard light, for example, has to go this way because it's sectored, so it has to face forward and then 2 points above the beam, I think it is. Can't remember now. I did a video on that years ago. What it means though is this wire, which is built in with these lights, which are quite light because it's a really weak point for corrosion, so it's nice that it's all sealed and done really well, will actually come in. So we're going to screw it onto here, one screw above, one screw below. the cabin roof here, but it means the wire is going to come through above. So at some point we're going to have to drop it down through a grommet. I think I'll just do it straight away. Yeah, get it under here as soon as possible. The old one, now this is the old aerial. I think it came in this way. I think the nav light on the other side actually drills through right up high, which we could do again. I'll get rid of this old aerial. Once again, gonna have to cut through these remaining bolts. Gotta be really careful with this one actually. Don't know, you probably won't see it, particularly on wide angle, but the resin coating on it's been completely, destroyed by the sun. And if you touch it, it's just really itchy. All the fiberglass is coming out of it. Because of that, while I'm here, I'm just going to cut this off, bag it up and bin it, get rid of it. I keep forgetting and sort of move it around, then go, ah. Probably had one of the most physical days I've had for a long time on the boat today, and foolishly went to a bit of a high intensity exercise class first thing this morning. I don't know what I was thinking. It's supposed to be good for you. Alright, got all the bare metal ground. Obviously it was worse in the bilge where water has sat in the past. Gave it an acetone wipe. Now I'm just going to get a coat of white on. This area you'll never really see, it's under the bunk, but still want it to be rust proof. While I've got the white open and the brush wet, I'm just going to paint this section where we welded for the anchor winch, the sapling. Nice to get this fixed up given how visible it is. Next thing I need to do is start drilling for the nav lights to go on and drill through the lead to secure it. I've decided I'm just going to use like a stainless wire and tether it and swage it essentially. There's lots of ways to go, build, weld in sides, lots of different techniques, but I figured this will stop it going anywhere. Anyway, to do that I need to fix the drill, and viewer Rory, huge thanks to you Rory, has sent me the bits I need to fix it. I have no real idea what I'm doing here, so I don't know if this is something I should film, but I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. Kindly, Rory has sent me some instructions and what looks to be pretty much the entire assembly here. Hang on, let's have a look what we got here. Ooh, what's this? Looks like a whole motor assembly with lots of little electrical attachments. The end cap. Use my gold pan as a parts tray. Interesting, alright, so this part goes right down the bottom, and then motor comes up here. Black and white goes to the LED, and the rest comes down low to connect to the battery by the looks of it. Alright, this doesn't look too bad, and looks like I've got a bit of crud in here that I should definitely clean out before we reassemble, so it doesn't just go and cause more damage. Let's disconnect the LED, which I think, oh my thumb, I know it might be usable, but it's still not great. So what was that, black and white? Black and white, here we go. Alright, so we've totally separated this part now. You can see here where the smoke was coming from, this coil here. Or that pole of the coil, is that how it works? Who knows? Uh-oh. Where did that come from? That looks like a detent for a switch or something. I didn't notice that pop out.
Seems better if we route that LED connector into that space. This is all slotted in, that battery connector. This is in its groove. Rory also said just to double check these gearbox screws are tight because they're internal and they can come loose, so we need those tight before we reassemble it.
Hey. Another important job to do, not so much for the trip itself, but for when we get there, because we're staying a couple of nights, is just to get some lighting in this cabin. So, plan is to merge these two in the center and run a single one forward. The merge obviously is a potential fault point, so it's great that it's beneath this removable section. Now, part of me wants to push on and get these lights done before I get home. I'm so tired. I think it's going to have to wait till tomorrow. So I'm going to put the other one here. But they look quite nice, I think. Kind of match the clock barometer. Good morning. No rest for the wicked. Now I'm going to get into the lazarette and put a coat of top coat on there. Let that dry, then we're going to put some nitrile down and put the lead ballast on top of it. Oh, and if ever you're wondering how trucks get to the island, that's our fire truck coming back. Been off for a service, I think. There's no bridge to the island, but barges can bring them over. There are roads on the island for the vehicles to be on, but there's no private cars. That's actually the council ute on the front and the fire truck on the back, which is pretty much it, other than some electric vehicles. Alright, I don't have a lot of this top coat left. You can see I haven't gone all the way up. I just don't have time. I've got to pull these shelves out both sides to get good access and grind there. Also, the ballast is going to be a lot towards the stern near the transom. I think the reason for that actually isn't to do with the boat being tender. I actually think it's a relatively stiff hull. I haven't done the roll period test yet, but it's got quite a short roll period from what I can tell just seeing it out in the waves. I think it's more about getting the stern down and the bow up. But let's just get it in and we'll do a proper roll period test down the track. Fortunately, the handheld VHF radio I ordered arrived in time for our trip. As well as being a good idea to have one, we are required by law to have one when we go offshore. So we're in business. Although Pedley said I could borrow his if it didn't arrive, but we're going to have this permanently mounted as a charger so it doesn't flop around and fall over. And then we will install a built-in with an external aerial sometime after we get back. Alright, then we can also run a little power from the side here down here for charging. Here's the radio, was a Uniden. Not a common, as far as I know, kind of classic marine radio brand, but it reviewed really well for the price. $100 and something. You know, tri-scan, dual scan, all this kind of thing. So boost mode, I think it'll be fine. Waterproof, floats, little SOS strobe light. Yeah, so I think it'll be fine, particularly for the price. Alright, while that paint dries, let's push on with the lights. My plan is to join them here with some spade connectors. Actually, let's do it here so that it's in this gap, and then run a single cable forward. If you cast your mind way back to the earlier videos, there were actually wires coming down quite a few of these, and they had those clips holding them on. So this is the path I'm gonna reuse. I don't have any personal fascination with the wires being completely hidden.
I'd rather have good access to them. It's a workboat, you know. There's no room for any meaningful grommet up here, so I'm just going to wrap it with tape so it's a tight fit. Also, once wires are secured, if they're free to vibrate, they can chafe really badly, but once they're locked solid, not so bad. Alright, where are we? Here we go. Let's pull this one down under the dash. I was tempted to get some white conduit to put here, but another viewer mentioned, you know, maybe just for glare, you're better off actually having just the window frames being black anyway. Which, you know, does make sense, makes a big difference, particularly driving at night. But that will do for now. Put some more tape around there where it goes through. Lights upstairs in the wheelhouse worked, so just putting one here down above the bunk. Alright, gotta go cut 6 inches off this somehow. Now all I gotta do is clean all my paintwork after I got all that grinding dust over it again. And clean all this, still got soot on it from the fire. Never ends. Anyway, one step closer, very good. For LEDs, it's actually quite a nice yellow light. I was expecting it to be a brighter white light, so that's a pleasant surprise. I didn't film it because it's very dull and boring, but I've now drilled a hole through the centre of all these lead ingots, and I'm going to swage wire to, you know, secure them in place. Paint through this centre section at least has been drying. That's all the paint I had. The plan now is put some sheets of nitrile down, lay the lead on top of that, and then just secure them all with the stainless wire. Just feeding this stainless wire through all the ingots. Alright, now, yes, lots of ways it could have gone. Could have welded a longitudinal here and here, may do down the track, but I've got this. A lot of stuff working on the island like this, it's about working with what you've got. May shift a little bit, but it's not going to go flying off towards the sides of the boat and reducing stability. Alright, second lot's in. This one actually had holes that I've gone through. I don't think it's necessary, but it saved coming high up over here. So, 2 down, 1 to go. Up on the wheelhouse roof, as you can probably tell, a few things I want to do. Got to get nav lights working. Look, we'll be travelling during the day, so I'm going to start with the anchor light. That's the one I absolutely have to have, and then we'll push on to the others as time permits. Because we're also going to be going to some unfamiliar areas, I'm finally going to get around to figuring out the exact air draft of this boat in case we go under any bridges and it's borderline. Alright, top of mast to top of the wheelhouse is 3200. It's 3200 here, but then if we measure from here down, then, you know, once again, we're just giving ourselves margin for error rather than the other way around. Alright, there's 4 wires coming down from the mast, and through trial and error, I've figured out that these 2 are the anchor light, which is on. You may not be able to see, I've got the sun behind it. Terrible camera work. Probably can't see that way either, but it is on. That's the light I essentially have to have working for the trip. So, let's wire that up properly, and then we'll work on the others. Alright, now the floor's back in, I am going to screw it down in a few spots. You'll be pleased to know I also just rigged up a little stainless chain across the opening here. It's not awesome, but you know, I think it'd stop you just falling straight overboard, give you something to grab onto as you know, even if you hit it low enough to sort of go over. If I take one link out, it's actually too tight to get undone. So it's as tight as I can get it with it still being usable. You know, it's something. The door's still at home waiting to be cut in half, hinged, all sorts of stuff, but that'll do for this trip. Because I'm going to be doing a little bit of diving in the harbour, I mounted this. I believe it's maybe like a handrail end or something. It doesn't have a drain hole. I might drill one, but at the end of the day, it's stainless. It fills up with water. I'll just squish it out. But what it's for is a really quick raise dive flag. Can just pop it in, rotate it into the wind, easy up and down. I do have a proper flagpole I'm going to install, not sure where yet, ideas welcome, using like the sister clips on proper sewn cloth flags, but this is the one, even if I have that up, I want to be able to just pop this one as a second one when we go diving. So it seemed like a simple way to achieve that. You probably noticed there's a few gaps in the filming in this video due to just the sheer amount of work that I had to get done against the clock and, you know, people stopping by, all sorts of things. But I think it's been really good having this deadline, having Bronick saying, look, we're going Tuesday, you know, you're in or you're out. And as soon as I committed to being in, it really motivated me to do more work in a single week than I've done in Renko since we're on the hard stand. To fill in those gaps though, I'll give you a quick run round of the things that got finished and the things that I still need to do tomorrow and maybe continue actually on the trip, to be honest with you. So, got this bit painted up finally. Probably could use another coat and maybe even a little bit of epoxy filler, but looks a lot better than just the peeling burnt paint. I didn't have time to get the seats recovered professionally, so Vicky went up to Clark Rubber, got some high density foam and some marine vinyl. Yeah, we went for a lighter colour in the end. We're thinking black for, you know, not getting grubby, but I really don't want to make this space too dark. She's currently at home doing the driver's seat as well, so that'll happen. All the lights in the wheelhouse are working as well, and the anchor is now all fused up on a switch. The total air draft of Renko, I never showed you that because Jeff turned up while I was measuring, turned out to be 5.6 metres, so now we know, it's great. It's always written on charts, and the air draft you'll see under a bridge, the space you've got under a bridge, is always written, out of interest, at a mean high water spring, so it's essentially the least space you'll have. Tomorrow, mattress is going in the cabin, which will be nice, that'll be finished, lights are in there. What else has got to happen? I will continue pushing on rigging up side lights. Because this boat is under 12 metres, don't quote me on it, I'm pretty sure vessels under 12 metres can have an all-round white light instead of masthead and stern light. This means that we can actually get away with side lights and the anchor light for now. I will rig up a masthead and a stern light, definitely, I've even bought them, but that'll get us out of trouble in a pinch. We can turn our anchor light on, our side lights on, and travel at night if we, you know, don't make it in daylight. Another thing I really want to push on to do, once again, not so much for the commute down, but for when we get there, is I have 2 fully waterproof LED lights to go under the awning. I think it'd be really nice to have back deck light once we're there. So I'm going to get a long strip of aluminium. I'm going to mount them to the aluminium at home, come in, the cable will go in this groove, and then we can, not sure, but duck into the wheelhouse here. I believe there might, there we go, there's already a hole over there where previous wires went through. There's lots of spaces where wires have been added that I'm reusing. Down the track I will get some cable trays and stuff to neaten all this up, don't panic. I don't really want to put a full false ceiling in here because solar cells like to cool, and to be honest with you, I actually like the look of them. Tomorrow we're getting the ute from the island. You can rent it by the hour. I'm going to take the compressor and the generator off the boat finally, and I'm also bringing the mattress and just a little timber table. It's not the permanent table for the boat, I've got a nice design for that, but I'm going to custom make that. It's just something to use while we're in Sydney for a few days. If you happen to be a chippy and you're keen to help make the table,
get in touch.
Well, thanks for watching. A few more things to do, but I feel like we've made a real push forward this week. It's pretty exhausting, but I think we're getting there. We'll be doing some diving when I'm down the harbour, much clearer water than the river because it's essentially a ria. It's actually a flooded river valley, whereas this is a river. So clearer water, and it's a great chance to have a first go with some of the new dive gear in better visibility. All right, well, I'll catch you next week when hopefully we're back from this trip.
Hello, Mr. Lorikeet. What are you doing? Where'd your buddy go? What? Say what? Can't eat it, sorry. Alright, I'll leave you in peace. Sorry, no food. Oh, here's your buddy. Your buddy's more easily spooked. Alright. Let's grab. Hey. Let's go see if there's any eggs. Oh, you want to come too, do you, Daffy? Fair enough. Daisy! You just got up out of bed. There you go. What's going on in here? Oh, look at that. 4 eggs. I'm taking food, not giving food. Ooh. These are Daffy's eggs, and this is Daisy's. She doesn't lay as often. When Dottie was alive, she laid white eggs, so you could always tell who was laying. These boxes are overdue for a clean. There you go, girls. New hay in exchange for your efforts. Let's do the other one too. All right. You get clean beds, I get 4 eggs. Let's put some there, out of the way. Thank you. Thank you too, Daisy. 1 out of 4 ain't bad, you're trying.